In this video, I will tell you about olfactory fatigue, what it is in simple words, and how you can use it to your advantage. Recently, I saw some videos on Perfumer's World YouTube channel, a lecture where they talk about how to selectively induce olfactory fatigue in order to isolate certain smells. And I tried it when I was creating an amber accord. I had two different kinds. One had more patchouli and a musk. And initially, I couldn't really smell the patchouli and the musk. So I did this technique to see what these additions smell like. What is olfactory fatigue, if you don't know? It is, in very simple words, what happens to your brain when you keep smelling the same thing over and over again. Because your brain has evolved to notice new smells and tune out the things that you smell often, it appears as if your nose got blind to the smell, or as if the smell disappeared, when in reality it's just that your brain stops paying attention to the smell. I'm not going to get too much into the science because I honestly don't know how to explain that, but from what I understand is that when you smell a certain thing, let's say a certain material, those molecules will get stuck in your nose olfactory receptors and they trigger your brain. And initially, because it's a new signal, your brain pays attention and it seems like you can smell it. But then, because it doesn't change, your brain stops paying attention and kind of ignores it. It's just like you can't really see your nose unless you pay attention. This might seem like a bad thing and like an obstacle when it comes to perfumery, but honestly it is a God's gift, because imagine if you had to smell your room or your own skin scent all the time. It would probably drive you mad. Now, how can we use this for our advantage? I'm going to show two different examples. So the first example is we are going to try to separate top notes from middle notes to base notes. And the second example, we're going to compare two different accords. Now, it is quite an abstract way I'm going to explain this, so bear with me. I'm going to have a beaker, and I'm going to have materials, and I'll have paper strips. When I show something next to the beaker, it means these materials are going into the beaker. That's what's in here. I will not actually blend it, but you get the point. And then when I take a paper strip, I have B and A. If I dip it, it means that the paper strip has these materials. We're going to start with the first example. We will take galaxolide, which is a base note, a lemon, which is a top note, and we will take fructone, which is kind of a middle note, a hard note. And we are going to blend them into this. Okay? We'll put these away here. We're not going to use them right now. We blend them. In here we have our little accord. How can we smell these different parts separately now that they're inside the beaker? We can't. We can only smell the whole thing, right? By using olfactory fatigue, we can actually isolate the different stages of this perfume. Not perfectly, but at least we can do something. We are going to dip strip A into this. And now this strip has all three materials on it. We're not going to dip this one yet. B, we just let the A sit here for a while. I'm not exactly sure how long it takes for lemon to evaporate. Well, let's say 30 minutes. We wait. We don't touch anything. We just go away. After 30 minutes, we come back. We smell this. We don't smell the lemon anymore. The materials stay here, but I'm gonna put this here so you can see. Initially, all materials were on the strip, but now the lemon has evaporated. We only have galaxolide and fructone here. If we smell them, we're gonna smell everything except the top notes. But maybe we want to isolate the top notes and we want to smell what is it like in the context of the perfume. We don't want to just smell the lemon because it doesn't have any of the other materials, so we lose the context if we do that. That's why we're going to take pepper strip B and dip it again. And now we're going to take the strip A and smell it. We're going to smell it for, I don't know, a minute, 2 minutes, however long you need to smell this until you can no longer smell this. That's the point. We're going to blind our nose with this purposefully. So put it close to your nose and smell. And when you feel like you can no longer smell it, quickly take this away and smell the one that you just dipped. What's going to happen is that your nose gets blind to these two materials. And when you dip this one, which has all three, Your brain will ignore these and you will only smell the lemon on strip B, but you will smell it in the context of these other materials. So maybe it's gonna smell softer or powdery compared to if you just smell it isolated. This is how you could smell the top notes. Now let's do the same thing, okay? But now we want to smell the middle notes. Because base notes is easy. You just wait until the top notes and middle notes evaporate and you smell the base and you got the base. How can we smell the middle notes then? How can we smell just the fructone and not the base notes, galaxolide, and the lemon top notes? It is actually very simple. We can leave the first strip, the one that we just used, where lemon is gone, we had the other two. Let's wait until fructone evaporates, and we just have galaxolide here. Then we're going to take the second strip, again we dip it in the blend, and we're going to wait until the lemon evaporates. On strip A, you have just galaxolide because everything else has evaporated. And on strip B, you have galaxolide and fructone because lemon evaporated. So now you take the one which has just galaxolide and you smell it. You smell, smell, smell. Once you can no longer smell the galaxolide, you take the other one which has both and you smell it instantly. And now your nose will ignore the galaxolide and you will only smell the middle notes, the fructone. This is how you could isolate these different stages of the perfume and smell them separately. Now let's do the other example where I said we're gonna try to compare accords. I'm gonna have two blends here actually. Let's say on the first blend, again we have galaxolide, fructone, and lemon. We're gonna blend them in here. And then in the second one, we will have the same materials, but also ginger and also patchouli. So we make our blend, we have a blend here, and we have a blend here. I don't have two bottles of galaxolide or fructone, so it's gonna be here, but imagine that these are also here. But this has extra patchouli and ginger. This one does not. We're going to take strip A and dip in the simple one, simple accord. And then we're gonna take strip B and dip in the more complex accord. Take the simple one, this one, and smell it. Smell it until you can no longer smell it. And then instantly take the second one, this one, and smell it. What is going to happen is that these materials from this blend on the right side, they will be ignored by your nose when you smell the more complex blend. And what you will be left with are the extra notes you added. How is this useful? For example, recently I made two amber accords. One was very simple, the basic vanillin, labdanum, and benzoin resinoin. And then I made a more complex accord which also had patchouli and musk. Initially I could not smell the patchouli and the musk and I felt like it's not really different. But then when I compared them in this way, I smelled the patchouli and the musk on their own, but also in the context, like they were not isolated materials, they were in the context of the blend, and I smelled them and suddenly I picked up the nuance that is doing to the accord. And then after that I did not need to do this technique in order to smell it, because I could pick it up. This is what I think it's really good for, is when you cannot really tell the difference between two things that you know are different. You can do this technique and it will register in your brain. It will help you spot the difference easier. You could also do this with similar smelling materials. For example, tonka bean and coumarin. Coumarin is a smell within tonka bean. Tonka bean has extra things, similarly to these accords. If I just smell coumarin first and I get my nose tired of it, and then I smell tonka bean, I will smell the difference. I will really smell what makes tonka bean different and richer than the coumarin. You can do this with patchouli and clearwood. You can do this with sandalwood molecules, all the different ones like bagdanol, ebonol, javanol. You can do this with musks. You can do this with anything. I know that this setup here might have been a little bit confusing, but just keep in mind that when you smell two different things, you will smell the thing that's different about them. if you do them in this technique where you smell A until your nose is tired of it, and then immediately, don't wait a minute, don't wait 10 seconds, immediately smell the second one, you'll smell the difference. But eventually your nose will get tired of the second one too, so you need to pay attention. Another way you could do this is if you're trying to duplicate a perfume. You spray the original on A, you spray your version on B, and then you smell the original until you no longer smell it, and then B, and you will see what's the difference, or other way around. The only way you can't do this is if you first smell the complicated smell and then the simpler one. You will not smell the simple one because it's already included in the complicated one. In the example of these accords, if we first smell this one on the left side, which has all materials, and then we try to smell just the one which has these three, we won't smell it because it's already in the first one and we already got tired of it. You don't have to do this every time you make blends or accords. It's just a tool in your arsenal that you can do if you can't really tell the difference between things, or if you want to isolate the top, mid, or base, like I demonstrated in the beginning. Hopefully this was helpful, and if you want, there will be a link to the original lecture that I watched in the description.